On Monday, November 27th at 7:30 p.m. at the Winnipeg Art Gallery Eckhart Hall, Winnipeg's GSwell will be presenting their second live concert of this 2023-24 season. Called Untethered, this concert will take the listener on a journey of sound and space. It will explore the premise that music means different things to different people and should be experienced differently because of this. The concert will be guest curated by Winnipeg composers Rebeka Schroeder and Kiara Nathaniel, and will feature the amazing Shhh Ensemble from Ottawa, as well as music for a percussion quartet. There will be compositions by the two curators, Rebeka Schroeder and Kiara Nathaniel, as well as music by Jocelyn Morlock, Harry Stafalakis, Monica Pierce, Anna Torvaldsdottir, and Elliot Cole. And joining me here over Zoom to talk about GSwell's Untethered concert on Monday, I am joined by Rebeka Schroeder and Kiara Nathaniel, as well as the two members that make up the Shhh Ensemble, percussionist Zach Pulak and pianist Adana Hayam. Hi, all. It's nice to meet you here over Zoom.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
I'm going to start the conversation out by asking how the name of the concert came about, Untethered. Kiara and Rebeka, can you talk about what Untethered means specifically in regards to the concert, and how did you come up with the name of the title, with the title of the concert?
So when we were kind of designing the concert, we kind of picked our theme before we picked our pieces. And we knew that we wanted the audience to be able to move around throughout the concert. And so we settled on Untethered because the audience is not set in their place. They are allowed to move around and kind of experience each piece differently if they wish.
Oh, that's amazing. Kiara, can you talk about your piece that the Shhh Ensemble are going to be playing and how it ties into this theme of Untethered?
Yeah, so my piece is called False Awakening, and it's for marimba and piano. And it explores the concept of, like, a false awakening is when you dream you wake up. So you think you're awake, but you're not. And you're like going around with your mundane tasks. And I thought that, like, distortion of reality concept was, like, really cool. Everything is just slightly off. So in that way, you're untethered from reality. But I thought it was a cool way to incorporate the theme.
Sure, absolutely. And Rebeka, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Can you talk about your piece and how it ties into the theme of Untethered?
So the title of my piece is Verloren, which means lost in Low German. It's I'm Mennonite, and so our language is Low German. And it has the same double meaning as it does in English, where it can be lost kind of emotionally as well as physically. And so this kind of losing yourself also has this untethered nature where you're not sure where you're going, you're not sure where you belong. And so I was it started off as an exploration of a space, but it kind of turned into an exploration of, like, my place in society as I'm finishing up my master's. And so a lot of things are shifting. And so it's just kind of, it was me kind of thinking on all of that and how that's shaping my life.
Yeah, and the great unknown of what happens after school. Yeah.
Exactly.
What's the piece orchestrated for? Can you talk about the percussion instruments that are you going to use in the piece?
Yeah, so I'm using vibraphone, bass drum, and piano. And the piano will have a little bit of inside the piano sounds. And so, like, I was also exploring different timbres in each instrument. The bass drum will be struck as well as using friction. So I've kind of exploring each instrument separately as well as their combinations together.
Yeah, amazing. I'm going to turn the conversation over to the performers, Zach and Adana. What has it been like practicing these new pieces with these two young, very talented curators?
It's been a really great experience so far. We've enjoyed putting it together. They're just getting to, I feel like we're going to peak at just the right moment. So it's feeling good on our end. It's been usually when we have a project like this kind of come together. I mean, actually, there is no usual. Every project is a little bit different, and that's what makes it so interesting. But just because of our schedule and Rebeka and Kiara's schedules, we've been kind of almost working independently a little bit. So they sent us our score, which is fine, and it just evolves in a different unexpected way. And so we've gotten these pieces, and we've been discovering them, and we fired back and forth a few emails just to like try to peel back the layers and figure out what everything is about. And it's been really exciting process, and we're excited to show it to them for the first time on Sunday, the day before. It's the first time that we actually get to be in the same room together. So sort of a different timeline than maybe we're used to, but it's a really exciting concept, and we can't wait to play.
Fantastic. The Shhh Ensemble has been heard by Winnipeg audiences before. You were here in February performing as part of the Winnipeg New Music Festival. How did you end up performing for this concert? Were you approached by Rebeka and Kiara, or were you approached by Groundswell? Danny, you want to speak to that one?
Yeah, so I'm not sure,
Would you like me to speak?
I'm not sure how this one went, actually.
Well, I mean, we like to keep in touch with all the different the presenters that we can, try to keep Shhh Ensemble as busy as possible. And this kind of just worked out really nicely. I think Rebeka and Kiara had already some kind of preconceived ideas of what this program would kind of look like, and somehow it just came to pass that Shhh Ensemble was kind of a natural evolution of their concept. And so it sort of just fell into place really organically.
So I guess what I'm wondering is, who reached out to who? Was it the curators that reached out to you, or was it
I guess in the end it was Groundswell that approached us and said, "Hey, would you guys be interested in premiering 2 pieces by some emerging Manitoban composers, and at the same time present some of your own work?" And of course,
amazing. Amazing. And Kiara and Rebeka, how does it feel to know that you'd be composing pieces for such a great ensemble like the Shhh Ensemble?
It's a really great opportunity, and we're super excited that we get the chance to write for such amazing players. And it's just been really cool that we get the opportunity to do this.
I when you compose at university, then very often you won't have a professional playing your music, and so the back and forth is a lot different. It looks a lot different because they're kind of learning along with you, but here Shhh is bringing like a lot of history with them when they come and approach your music. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, lots of background experience in dealing with new music. Aside from the obvious Winnipeg connections, what with Groundswell and Rebeka and Kiara, there's also connections with a couple of the composers on the program, Jocelyn Morlock, who grew up here in Winnipeg, and Harry Staphylakis, who is a composer in residence with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. Zach, can you talk about Staphylakis's piece, Light Symbolic? It's inspired by astronomy, right?
Yes. So we initially commissioned Harry to write that for us. We actually just premiered it month or so ago. So it's still a fresh piece for us. But Harry's piece, we've always liked his music. This was the first time we had an opportunity to work with him. And as some of your listeners might know, he's a heavy metal guitarist, scholar, as well as composer. And so he brings all of that to the table when he wrote this piece for us. So it has all of the kind of the awesome riffiness that you would expect from him, but it also makes use of a few custom instruments that I'm bringing with me because of some other pieces on the program. So it's another way, even though the program is called Untethered, there's a lot of elements in the percussion that kind of tether everything together. And so there's some of these beautiful bell cymbals that I had Sabian cymbals cast for me. Harry's piece uses that. Monica Pierce's piece also makes use of these very unique instruments. And then there's some other things that get picked up in the program with Anna Thorvald's daughter's piece that also uses some bell-like instruments. So there's all these sort of percussive kind of connections throughout the program.
Yeah, and I was reading about Harry's piece. Apparently, with it being inspired by space, it's inspired by sometimes the violence that happens, in space. I think it's in the second movement, but you get that sort of metal riffiness as well that you were talking about. Yeah. And Adana, maybe I'll get you to talk about Jocelyn's piece, Spirit Gradient, which is inspired by something completely different. Can you talk about that piece, Spirit Gradient, a bit?
Sure. So yeah, Spirit Gradient, Jocelyn wrote this piece for us a couple of years ago, and we played it many times since then. She was inspired by a spirit gradient or a level, and imagining a small little life force within that bubble, always trying to get out of this into the world. And it's a very quirky little piece. Lots of beautiful sounds in the crotales and the marimba balanced with the high register and then the low register of the piano. And yeah.
Yeah. Quirky from Jocelyn. I'm not surprised. She was a dear friend of mine. So yeah. And for our listeners, literally the piece is inspired by Carpenter's level and the bubble that's there. It's fantastic. Dreams definitely play a big role in this concert, Kiara, not only with your piece, but also the Monica Pierce piece, REM. Zach and Adana, what can you tell us about this piece? What's it like?
Yeah, so this piece is inspired by the research of Dr. Rosalind Cartwright, who was the Queen of Dreams. And the structure of the piece follows 3 cycles of sleep. And within those cycles of sleep, we have slow wave sleep, light sleep, and rapid eye movement. And we get to hear each of those 3 times throughout the piece, as the piece progresses, each iteration becoming a little bit more wild and untethered.
It's gonna be great. Rebeka and Kiara, you're also involving a percussion quartet in this concert as the curators. How did you come up with this decision to include a quartet? And can you talk about who are the 4 percussionists who are going to be performing in the ensemble?
Yeah, so Rebeka and I work a lot with the percussionists, Cameron Denby, Caroline Bucher, and Andrew Nazer. And Rebeka and I work with Cameron a lot because he has his ongoing Fresh Blood project, which actually just happened last week. So we love writing for percussion. So originally we were going to have just a percussion quartet, but then we added the Shhh ensemble in, which really makes it way better. And we thought to combine both of these ensembles. So we'll have some percussion quartet pieces, and the Shhh ensemble will be the main group. And yeah, Caroline, Andrew, and Cameron are really good players, and yeah, it's gonna be great.
I'm really excited to join them, by the way. So I'm going to be the 4th percussionist. So this will be really exciting to try to we will succeed in putting all of this together. We've got 1 day together, and we're just going to hammer it out, and it's going to be putting it together.
Yeah, it's great. I was reading about this Elliot Cole piece, the Postludes. Am I right? It's like 4 players each with bows and bowing vibraphones. Is that what the piece is?
Yeah, and so we're surrounding the vibraphone, and we've got 2 players on each side, and it's a really organic piece. It's very we're trading rhythms, and it sort of creates this wave effect as we're all bowing it, and you see it's as visual as it is kind of a sonic experience. It's really neat writing.
Yeah, and for our Classic 107 listeners, the bowed vibraphone it's a beautiful sound. Yeah, it should be really, really stellar. Rebeka, Kiara, Zach, and Adana, this has just been so great to talk to all 4 of you about Groundswell's concert Untethered on Monday. All the best. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. And thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me today. It's been fantastic.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
For our Classic 107 listeners, Untethered, as presented by Winnipeg's Groundswell, takes place this Monday, November 27th at 7:30 at the Winnipeg Art Gallery's Eckhart Hall. Tickets are pay what you can, how you can, and for more details, go to classic107.com or GSwell.ca.